Welcome back, everyone. It is Monday, May 5th in the MLB, and our two favorite picks are on the way. In this video, Logan and I have each cooked up our favorite player prop. Then at the end of the video, we'll talk about a bunch of other games we looked at, but we just haven't maybe pulled the trigger on any of those bets. But let's recap how we did yesterday, one of our best days of the year, Logan. Yeah, we didn't actually have any picks. We took the day off because if you watched our Saturday video, you know how that one went. We don't need to recap it. We don't need to start the week with that. It's been a disaster of a season. We're going to try our best to turn this thing around. That's why we're switching more towards player props. I'll probably have some unders in player props for like hitters soon. But today, on a shorter slate, we each got our favorite pitcher prop, Logan. Let's try to each go 1-0 and get a great Cinco de Mayo inbound. I'm going to dive into my play, then Logan can go to his, and then we'll talk about some games that we both like, but don't really want to force a lot of action because we've been terrible. I mean, if you couldn't even pay Logan and I to be this bad. You really couldn't. I don't even know if we even tried to lose, if we could be this bad. I don't think you could. Let's dive into this guy. Mine's going to be Sandy Alcantara, over 2.5 earned runs, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, I looked at the over for the Dodgers in the first 5 team total, but you actually have to pay more juice on that than you do on his earned runs prop. So I don't see the point in taking it if there is an error and the earned runs doesn't cash and the first 5 team total does. You probably won't see me tomorrow because that is technically what did happen the last time I got involved with an over and earned runs in Miami. But I anticipate Sandy. Hopefully, there's no errors in there, and hopefully, Sandy's the one giving up the earned runs. But let's just talk about Sandy, who was one of our nerfy goats, but he has just not been locked in this season, and he faced the Dodgers. Now, normally, I don't like the back offenses coming off Sunday Night Baseball. But the Dodgers did come off a loss, so I expect their bats to be locked in, and they've seen Sandy really well. I mean, they just saw him in his last start, 2 2/3, 7 hits, 5 walks, 7 earned runs. Now, is Sandy going to give up 7 earned runs today? Probably not. He'll pitch better than that, but he really just has not pitched well this season. I mean, this is the guy that's led at least 2 runs in all 6 of his starts. He's gone over this earned runs line in 4 straight starts, and the Dodgers have historically owned him over his career. 7 times faced them now. Granted, not all 7 in the last couple of years, but again, 3 earned runs or more in 6 of those last 7. We've seen the Dodgers. They've been really good against righties. Now, I will note, haven't been as good against righties on the road, but still, 4 of the last 6 righties to face them have given up 3 or more earned runs. One of them did actually give up 2 earned runs, but one of them counted as a third unearned run. Again, this is a Dodgers team that's batting 3rd in batting average and WRC plus versus right-handed pitchers this season. As I said, Sandy just has not been his normal self. He's 7th percentile in expected ERA, 10th in expected batting average, 13th in K percentage, 9th in walk percentage, 20th in hard hit percentage, 27th in barrel percentage. The list goes on and on. What Sandy's calling card is the ground balls. He's 85th percentile in ground ball percentage. The problem is the Dodgers have the 4th lowest ground ball percentage versus righties. So again, they're really hitting those line drives hard. I think they're 3rd highest in line drive percentage. So when they're putting the barrel on the ball, which Sandy's been giving up a lot of barrels, the ball's either going into gaps for extra base hits or it's going a far away into the bleachers. Sandy normally isn't a guy that struggles with command, but the 9th percentile walk percentage, you don't want to give up free base runners, especially not to a Dodgers team that's as good as it gets against right-handed pitchers. And as I said, they've seen Sandy a ton and have really good splits against them. Freddie Freeman, 281 versus Sandy. Mookie Betts, 438. Max Muncy, 333. Teoscar, 333. Will Smith, 429. Conforto, 267. I think Otani's only 1 for 5 with a walk or 2 in there. Again, I have to fade Sandy. He's going to figure it out eventually, but I can't be betting on his understands. Hey, he's going to figure it out today. That just feels like throwing a dart at the board. If he does figure it out, congrats to him. But again, the Dodgers have seen him really well. And the Marlins, if he's pitching well, maybe 2 earned runs through 5, they'll throw him out there for a 6th inning. So I like taking the earned runs a little bit more than taking the Dodgers first 5 team total, even though that is more juice than the regular earned runs prop. So I don't know why that's the case. Hopefully, I don't find out why that is the case today. I really like Sandy over 2.5 earned runs, my favorite play of the day. But Logan's got a pitcher prop for you. Our pitcher props have actually done decently well this season. Today, Logan's got an outs prop. Logan, who are you backing today and why?
Yeah, I do want to touch real quick on Sandy. If you just watch Sandy this season, he's just missing a lot of locations. He's one of those pitchers when he's going to the sinker, he's getting hitters to roll over on it. This season, it's just things way up in the zone or way over the middle of the plate, and that's why he's getting hit really hard. So again, Austin, I do like the look. You have to fade pitchers when they're just not in good form. If he figures it out today, you tip the cap. But I like a pitcher today to go over his outs prop, and mine's going to be Miles Mikolas of the Cardinals, over 17.5 outs, minus 106 odds on FanDuel is your best value. Now, this is obviously an outs prop. How this works, he's got to go 6 innings pitched, no less. It cannot end on 5 2/3. That will be painful. But this is something he's actually only done this season once in 6 starts. So the hit rate is actually not there. If you're just looking at like charts and hit rates, you're going to say, well, the under is probably the play there. And I see your angle, but again, this is a matchup that I really do like for Mikolas. He faces the Pirates, who are on the road for the first game of the series after coming off a home series. That's what I really wanted to find today. I wanted to find a team that's fadeable, that's been playing at home, and now has to go on the road in a divisional game, number one, and number two, in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. And that fits all the criteria for the Pirates. I think Miles Mikolas is able to handle this Pirates lineup. Pirates also not very daunting versus right-handed pitching, just 27th in batting average versus righties, only hitting 223. That actually drops to 217 versus right-handed pitching on the road. So again, this is when you want to fade the Pirates lineup. So Miles Mikolas, do your job today, please. 2 road series ago, they let Kochanowicz, who I think is one of the worst pitchers in baseball, they let him go 6 innings pitched while allowing 8 hits. That was at home. So it's the road Pirates bats versus a righty, and they let him go 6 innings pitched in a terrible outing for himself. I see starts like that, and that gives me confidence that Mikolas could maybe even give up some hits, but still limit the damage enough to give the Cardinals 6 innings pitched in this one. He's coming off a great start at Cincinnati, where he only allowed 3 hits. The Reds are a better lineup against right-handed pitching than the Pirates, and Mikolas actually in that one, he still went under this line, 5 2/3 innings pitched. So it was just an annoying Reds lineup that does run up the pitch count, that does have really tough at-bats. I don't see the Pirates being that way for him today. Against the Pirates last season, Mikolas went 6 innings pitched and 7 innings pitched against them. So he went over in both those starts last season. And I like to see Mikolas coming off a start where he gave up no walks. Walks are an enemy to an outs prop. They run up the pitch count. They get these pitchers out of the game quicker. The Pirates are only 14th in baseball in walks per game. I just don't see them really having long at-bats against Mikolas. If they're going to put the ball in play, they'll put the ball in play. But this is a guy who's gotten touched up a lot this season. I think he has a good home start in this one. I looked at the weather, because something you should always do when you're checking player props, especially in the pitcher prop department, is you've got to check the weather, because if the weather comes and rains this game out like midway through the third, Mikolas won't come back out. So you have to have that in mind, but there shouldn't be any weather delays in St. Louis today. And last point, in terms of spot, St. Louis is coming off a doubleheader against the Mets yesterday where they used bullpen arms. Ideally, they really want to force Mikolas to get at least 6+ innings pitched in this one. So it's one of those things where the manager will try to get him 6 innings pitched. Hopefully, Miles Mikolas, you go and do your job. I do really like this as my favorite player prop of the day. Austin, you want to talk about any other leans and stuff we looked at?
Yeah, I wanted to touch on Mikolas for a second. And while his hit rate's not great, if you look at his game logs, he's had a bunch of starts. Like even the last start went 5 1/3, got taken out at 77 pitches. So he's had a bunch of like low 80 pitch counts. Given that doubleheader yesterday, I can see they maybe stretched him out a little bit here because obviously first game of a series, you don't want to use your bullpen, and the bullpen's already been taxed a ton yesterday. So I think he does pitch well. And a lot of these starts, the most he's ever pitched this season is 89. If they let him go into that upper 80s, maybe low 90s, I feel pretty good, because if they let him do that in the other starts, the hit rate's probably like 4 out of his 6 starts instead of a 1 out of his 6. But as for some other games, I'll touch on 2 that I looked at. I looked at the under in the first 5 of the Royals and White Sox game. I didn't end up doing it because the White Sox bats have been decently hot against lefties. They tagged up Framber Valdez. I forget the other lefty they tagged as well. And Cole Reagans has just not looked great his last 2 starts. Now, I think he figures it out. Maybe his K-prop's not bad today. But I don't know a lot about Shane Smith, the Chicago White Sox starting pitcher. He's looked really good recently. Royals bats are starting to show up. They had the home run derby yesterday in Baltimore, so maybe they're swinging for the fences today, but didn't want to force one there. And then I was looking at a couple base props in the Mets and D-backs game. A lot of Mets have pretty good splits against Ryan Nelson. I just know the one that I choose is wrong. Juan Soto, Well, we know what he did to us. He did nothing. And then the next game, he had 2 homers, but he's hitting the ball really well. I think every single ball off his bat was over 100 yesterday. So I looked at him, looked at Pete Alonso's good splits there too. Francisco Lindor, couldn't decide on which one. Do you think the Mets offense shows up early in that one? But is there any other games that you looked at that maybe piqued the eye, but given how the season's gone, we're just only going to do one pick each?
Yeah, we cannot go and bet the board anymore. It's not working this season. We need to limit it to our 2 best plays, and that's what we have. I was looking at the under in Wrigley. It's set to 7.5 for a reason. The weather is ideal for pitching, and that ballpark is one of the most affected by weather. Matthew Boyd is one of the starters I can trust. I like that one. And then as we were kind of like typing out our analysis and looking at other plays, if I was betting for value, I like Nick Pavetta's under in Ks. Sitting at 5.5, plus 122 on the under. If I can dial in on K props, that would be really cool. I have no luck in the K prop department, but I see the Yankees being they're number one when the Yankees are at home. They're a very annoying lineup for starting pitchers. They force up pitch counts and they don't normally strike out a lot. So I think Nick Pivetta is going to have a hard time really getting the Ks against that lineup. We'll see if I'm dialed in on K props, but again, that's just something else I looked at for sure.
Yeah, and I guess speaking of that game, I saw the Padres' first 5 team total was 1.5, which is a little interesting. Rodon does pitch better at home, but I don't trust the Padres against lefties either. It just feels like Rodon always gives up 1 home run in each of his starts. It's a guarantee. So you just would have to hope that's a 1 or 2 run home run if you are taking the over there. But we'll stick to our 2 plays. Sandy's over and earned runs. Mikolas over and out. 2-0 day would be great for the vibes to kick off, hopefully, a great week. Let's have a great start. Let's go 2-0, and we'll see you guys back again tomorrow with some more plays, and we'll also have a Dinger Tuesday giveaway tomorrow. We'll see you guys then. Peace.